One wife was already legitimized. Meri was legitimized. So what's the difference?
Well, I think the difference, and this is not my perspective, but for many, is that she was the first wife.
I think if anybody somehow could step into our world and see how serious our spiritual marriages are to us, they wouldn't even bring that up to us.
So.
Hi friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. I just uploaded a video where I said that Tamron Hall, in a sneak peek, was sharing that she had been blocked basically by the family after she had been the host of Sister Wives Tell-Alls, like 4 seasons, she said. And it was really hard for her. It was painful for her because she got attached to the kids. And well, the 3 parts have now been uploaded onto Tamron's YouTube. You can check them out there. It was pretty emotional, honestly, to see them reunite. Tamron was admittedly emotional. It was obvious that she still had a lot of feelings about the fact that she was let go and fired. And I think it was pretty obvious that she had some feelings about the fact that despite the fact that she was told to be let go, it was like they cut her off. And she described how they would film for like 2 to 3 days, and it was from 6 a.m. to 7. And she did that for 4 seasons. So she had gotten to know them, and she had said that throughout that time, she'd always really loved Meri. And I want to tell you something. I know that people on the show that watch the show have feelings about Meri, and they don't always like her, or they love Christine and they love Janelle or whatever. But Tamron speaking about Meri and how much respect she had for Meri and how much she felt for Meri reminded me how I had spoken to this advocate years ago that worked with Meri at one point, and not like in a working relationship, but just like did some work with her. And when she talked about the 3 wives or the 4 wives, I'd asked point blank, like, who did you find the most honest? Who did you find the most easy to relate to? And they really said that Meri was like, they were surprised, the most down to earth, the most real, like willing to go there, not holding back, and very honest about what was the struggles within the marriages. Really liked Meri, and they really liked Janelle, and they did not really like Christine or Robyn. And what I think it's hard for some people that watch the show, because Christine is so bubbly and funny and kind on the show, or that's how it appears. But how that translates into the real world is very different. And Meri's standoffish behavior in the family had people watching the show feeling like she was a bitch or not nice, when really she was dealing with like constant shunning, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, and all kinds of just horrible circumstances. And she was his legal wife, and she was forced to deal with a lot. And then in this interview, I was kind of surprised because Tamron, it was clear, doesn't have good feelings about Cody and doesn't have good feelings about Robyn, and was rather ambivalent to the others. Like, she said nothing really. She just said, like, I always had respect for Meri. I always wanted her back. I always wanted to talk to her. I don't think Tamron would want to ever talk to Robyn or Cody. And she actually asked Meri about the status of her relationships with the other sister wives. And instead of really focusing on like, what's it like with Janelle? What's it like with Christine? Because I don't think anyone really cares, because we know that they didn't really interact all that much. So she's like, I'm just going to get to the point, Meri. What's your relationship like with Robyn? And then she specifically shared what she witnessed on the set, which I think we didn't see. And she described the tension she felt between Meri and Robyn, but not tension between Meri and others. So check this out.
What is your relationship like with Robyn? Because on set, I felt that the most tension was between you and Robyn. You were his first wife.
Really?
I did.
Okay.
I felt like when I asked about certain things, you would look at Cody and then she was always, So was I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
What is your relationship like now with Robyn?
We talk when we need to. You're gonna see a little bit of those conversations kind of play out.
Remember a couple months ago, I found these old articles about that were done around the time that Cody and Meri's divorce happened. And the sort of rumor that was coming out from people that knew the family was that Robyn hated Meri and called her a bitch and was tired of having to be beneath Meri, and basically told Cody that he could choose, like he could either divorce Meri and be with her and marry her, or she was going to leave him. And there was text messages between her and a friend calling Meri a bitch. And there was also like messages between her and a friend basically saying that, Meri doesn't deserve another child. Like she only gets to have one child because she's such an awful person. She's so evil, whatever. And on the show, they had to pretend like they were super close. Well, as Tamron was saying there, like she's on set with them, right? So she's spending 12, 13 hours a day, and she did 4 episodes. So 4 seasons. So I don't know. She maybe spent collectively a week's worth of time with them. And in that, her observation was not that Meri's relationship was tense with Christine or Janelle. It was that the tension and the problems in the relationships, and Meri's relationships specifically, were between her and Robyn. And I could always pick up on it. I could always pick up on the fact that she was very much having to deal with Robyn in order to have a relationship with Cody, and had to kind of keep Robyn close in order to even be able to connect to Cody, but that she didn't want that relationship necessarily. And the way that she phrased it, where she said, like, I would be on set and I would ask you a question, and then you would look to Cody, but then Cody would be sitting there and Robyn would be basically right on top of him, effectively saying, like, she had to look to them to figure out what she was going to say, because she had to speak their narrative or whatever it was that they wanted her to say. And she had to, they were basically being her voice and telling her what she needed to feel and think. And she asked her about the divorce with Cody. And I thought it was interesting because Tamron, so she saw them after they got legally divorced, but they were claiming they were still really together, even though they weren't, you know what I mean? And she asked Meri what was harder for her. Was it that she got legally divorced, or was the spiritual divorce harder for her? And Meri said, I was shocked. And it's not what she has said on the show at all. On the show, Meri said that because their legal marriage and their spiritual marriage were all done at the same time, she felt like when they got legally divorced, it was like severing both of those relationships. So it was harder on her. But that's not what she said to Tamron. She said that the legal divorce was harder for her because she didn't want the divorce. She didn't want to divorce Cody. So it was devastating for her, which proves what we've said all along. Cody and Robyn forced Meri to divorce him and then create a storyline that she was giving them the divorce for the kids. And which I think is kind of what Tamron was sort of hinting at, like, you had to look at them to know what to say. And Tamron said, I always kind of felt like you were speaking to me in code. And Meri said that when she was with the family, there was a lot of codes and code speaking she was using because there was a lot of fear about what she could say and what she couldn't say. And now she doesn't really have to speak in codes anymore. She still has a contract though, so she couldn't say everything, which was frustrating. She just kept saying, like, you have to watch that, you have to wait and see that. But I'll show you this other part too.
What's your relationship like with Cody right now?
It's pretty non-existent. To be honest with you, I'm dealing with a lot of grief, not over the marriage, actually dealing with grief over the fact that our divorce couldn't even be what I was hoping our divorce could be.
What did you hope it would be?
That we could be kind to each other.
Is he unkind to you?
Yep.
Meri and Cody's relationship, when they were done, Cody made this comment that Meri was going to be his, favorite ex-wife. And he and Meri were not going to have an ugly divorce. He wanted to still be friends with her. And I know when she left, they didn't leave bitter enemies. She was obviously not, it wasn't what she wanted to be with him romantically. But I think she believed they could actually work things out as far as being friendly. And I think Cody just doesn't have the capacity to be nice to anyone that he's not with. And I think what's hard for each one of these women is I think they look at what happens with the other women, right? So they see, oh, Cody's not nice to Janelle, or Cody mistreats Christine. And they can point to, well, she's not being nice to him, or she's saying things that are not nice about him, or she's whatever, like their behavior is causing this problem. But I think when it ends up being you realize it's not even about what you are saying or what you're doing. It's just that Cody is incapable of being nice to anyone. So if you're Robyn and you're with Cody still, that's going to be her. Like, I think it's odd that, there's still like not these light bulb moments for them. They're still coming out of years of indoctrination. And she's even, admitting that being able to feel jealousy, she couldn't. She wasn't allowed to have any feelings basically the entire time they were married. So having feelings now and having, processing everything that's happened to her and understanding that even in leaving, he couldn't be nice. After he made this whole display on the show where he was like, I'm going to walk her down the aisle. I really love her. It's the end of an era. It's all just fake. It's all fake. All of it is fake. And then I think the other part of the interview that I thought was really interesting was that, and it's interesting because I feel like a lot of the people that interview them have never dealt with them directly, and they haven't been in the same room with them, so they don't experience what it's like to be around them, right? And they're not able to like witness the dynamics that are at play. So I feel like Tamron had a different point of view. And mind you, she tried really hard to get Meri to open up, and I believe Meri would be more open. She's more open, I would say, on her Friday nights with friends or whatever she does with Jen. I think because she's there to promote the show, she can't be as open because she wants to get people to watch the show. She did say that, she would come back and talk to her if she wanted her to talk. I think it was another kind of clue that in not too distant future, she won't have these contracts binding her anymore. And I honestly feel like once those contracts are gone, we're going to see completely different people. They can finally speak and say what they want to say. And it makes me mad that these contracts are causing them to have to withhold information, right? Because of spoilers or whatever. But Tamron said that she picked up on the fact that there were people in the family, other wives, that viewed Meri as less than them and were angry with Meri because she would get money and resources, and they didn't feel like she should get the same amount as them because she didn't have as many kids. And therefore, even though she was working the same and doing the same job, they believed that they should get more simply because they have more kids. And she asked Meri, was it really like that? Did they treat you like you were less than? And Meri said yes. She said that because her body didn't work like theirs and couldn't produce the children that she would have gladly had, she was not viewed in the same regard as the other women that had more kids for Kody. And she said it really messed with her. And she said that it shouldn't matter if she had more kids or not. She still did the same amount of work and deserved the same amount of money. And it's true. That's 100% true. And I know that Janelle made a really big deal about Meri getting the same amount of money on and the same budget for the house. And I know that McKelty has made comments about, well, it's not fair that, Meri had nicer things, but we didn't because Meri took our money. That's still cult programming, by the way. Why is it Meri took your money when everyone's getting paid the same, right? Like if they're dividing it equally, if that's how it's supposed to work, why did she take your money? Was she supposed to give up money simply because she didn't have 6 kids, even though she was working too? And I understand from the kids' perspective, they feel like, well, she could have sacrificed, but why would she have had to sacrifice? She was sacrificing her marriage. She was sacrificing her sanity. She was sacrificing her safety. She was sacrificing her well-being. She was sacrificing everything for Kody. And then they wanted her to give more and more and more. The saddest part to me about all of this is that, one, you have someone like Meri who was so abused, obviously took that out on people around her, was in fight or flight mode. But even in their dynamics, Tamron could pick up that she was treated like she was less than everyone else because she couldn't produce the number of children. And that the number of kids they had was like how they valued how important they were in Kody's family, which is sick. But that's what this is about. They're only there to make babies, right? It's just so makes me sad. It makes me sad for her because I feel like of all of the women, if you're a legal wife, friends, ladies, I'm a legal wife. Can you imagine that you're the legal wife and your husband keeps having kids with these other women and they keep having all these kids, and then you're made to feel guilty because your body can't produce the kids that they're making, even though you have infertility, they don't. And then somehow you're guilted because you can't produce kids that you should somehow not get paid the same amount as everyone else because you don't have 6 kids. Can you imagine if our employment was based on the number of kids we had? I can feel for Meri because I have 1 kid. 1 kid. So what if you only have 1 kid? Doesn't make you less than a human. Doesn't make you less than a mother. Not everyone wants 20 kids. Not everyone wants 6 kids. Not everyone can have 6 kids. Some people are like Meri that have infertility. Others are like me that have a body that doesn't cooperate with pregnancy. I can get pregnant. I can't stay pregnant. And I give birth early. And then I have high risks related to birth, delivery, and having children. So for people like me and Meri, are we supposed to be penalized in the world because we only have 1? I'm glad that she's speaking up. Like I've said before, I think that she's going to be more honest than Christine. She's further evolved in a way. So what are your thoughts about this? You can check all of these videos out on her YouTube. There's more I could talk about, but these were the things I wanted to share because these were the things that mattered to me, and these were the things that were on my heart after watching. And I'm just glad that Meri and Tamron had a chance to connect. It's nice to see Meri share what's going on. And I'm glad that she was finally able to say, the divorce was not my idea, even though she didn't say it directly, she said it. And that her most challenging relationship was with Kody and Robyn because they were running the show. So what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.